How do streamers get easy lobbies in Warzone? Oh, baby. It's all scripted, guys. This should be good.
What's the truth about Warzone bot lobbies? Have you ever turned on a YouTube video and thought to yourself, why don't their opponents shoot back? Well, I've had those same thoughts, and after months of
I have those same thoughts.
I found 5 ways that people get easy lobbies. And in this video,
The main one that I know off the top of my head from the most recent months is twoboxing. Where they go in with a player that, or a separate account that's trash, that's the host that puts them in there. The big one that people always talk about as well as VPNs. You do a VPN somewhere. I don't completely understand how that works. I don't understand where they VPN for it. I'm hoping that some of that's explained here because I'd love to know some insights on it. The one that I 100% know works, though, is if you AFK, and we'll see if he talks about it. If you AFK, you go to the end of a game, and you don't touch anything, and you wait for it to autoplay again, immediately just let it put you into the next game, put you in a bot lobby. 100%. Specifically for solos, and specifically for big map. That happened in Warzone 2 a couple of times. I heard about that. I tried it, and it worked. But there's a couple other people that were doing it in there that were giga sweats. Crazy, crazy, crazy good people. Maybe they were hacking too. I don't know. But they destroyed me. Every time I would make it to the end game, the lobbies were typically almost empty when I would do it too. It'd be like 40 out of 100 people were playing. So it was a very slow, dead lobby. And then at the end, I run into one crazy, sweaty dude who just kills me. So I hated the experience. I'd rather just play a normal game of whatever the skill base was that was giving. But okay, let's see.
Answering how each method works, can you tell if someone is using them, and explain why getting bot lobbies is actually part of a much bigger problem. So starting off with the first bot lobby method. Now people have been getting accused of using it since Verdansk, and the idea behind the method is quite simple. You confuse the matchmaking algorithm by giving the game a fake location for your house. When you connect to a match in Warzone, the game looks at many data points to decide what match to put you in. It looks at your connection to the server, the skill of you and your party, and many more things.
They did a post saying that connection was like the biggest priority for them. They were basically downplaying the effect of skill-based matchmaking and yada, yada, yada. I tell you what, every time I play, I am in East Coast servers or I am in Central. I barely ever get to play on my own servers on the West Coast. And when I do, it's when I'm in a private match and my ping is 7. I never have a 7 ping in any of the random lobbies that I get. And my queue times are through the roof a lot of times. I'm assuming that's partly why they've switched to only solos and quads now. But I feel like the SBMM is there. Now, I think there's only 3 tiers of it. We can get more into that later, but
one of the most critical factors
maybe
is the
confuses
time
it.
to match.
Okay.
They don't want the queue time to take a long time because people would get bored and hop off the game. So for this first method, people download a third-party app that routes just your matchmaking data over a global virtual private network of servers. This is commonly called a VPN. And according to one of these third-party apps websites, this confuses the skill-based matchmaking system because the game assumes you'll have a high ping and it throws you into the closest lobby possible as fast as possible. Now, this all sounds great in theory, but does it work?
I see.
Well, I use a VPN.
So then it doesn't even have time to try and keep on searching you for a skill-based match-made lobby. It'll just put you in the most readily available one, which will maybe be one of the cheaper lobbies. The main guy that I play with that VPNs, well, there's a couple guys. There's a couple guys in Europe, and there's a couple guys in Australia. The Australia guys can't even get a server on their own servers because there's not enough people even playing, especially at the hours that they sometimes play. So they'll VPN to the US to play. But I've ran into those guys even in normal lobbies. I ran into Drew Dog once sniping me back in Warzone 2, and I was just playing in some regular games. So I don't exactly know if that fully breaks it or if it still does. I don't know.
SBMM off. I have no affiliation with this program, and this is not advertising for them. I just want you to know exactly what I did, and I want everyone to see just how easy it is to manipulate matchmaking in Warzone. Now, what I did was I found a server where the local time was in the morning from like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., and I connected to that server under the strict setting. This strict setting apparently means that it forces the game to look for a lobby with players that only have open or moderate NAT types. I'm not sure how much of a difference this makes, but this is what was recommended to me. Now here's where things get tricky. Call of Duty closed down their API to the public, which is just a fancy way to say that websites like COD Tracker can no longer track stats and lobby strength for people who want to look it up. Now this was
Basically, at the end of games, and maybe even during the games, you could look and see who's in your lobby and then figure out what's the average KD for the lobby. So back in Warzone 1 era, there was a time when you could go and look up a player's profile and see what KD their lobbies are and who they're actually playing in the games to see, like, are these people just playing in, like, lobbies that are terrible, or are they playing in, like, better lobbies? And they would have, like, diamond lobbies or whatever. Of what the skill-based matchmaking is, there was just like theory-crafted version of the diamond or silver or bronze lobbies of what they're categorizing it as secretly in this game, but making it public.
Definitely a calculated move by Activision because they don't want people to know how the matchmaking algorithm works, and they want people to be kept in the dark. But it makes testing bot lobbies almost impossible because we can't see the stats of the other players. So I decided for this video that if I could drop 40 or more kills playing solo quads,
40
which
kills?
I've never done under normal matchmaking,
Holy
it would
shit.
tell me that this method works. And lo and behold, after just a few hours of testing, I got an
What?
insane bot lobby.
Damn, dude. Maybe I gotta do this.
Let's go.
Because if he did a video of him actually doing a hack or something that wasn't allowed, then he would get banned for it. I've seen people do this in games before. Even in Fortnite, there was this kid who did, and he was a gigantic streamer who was like, I'm gonna download hacks for a day and do a video and try it. Banned.
For the 40. Holy. Now, everyone's definition of a bot lobby is different, and it definitely depends on your own skill level. But
Could
some
break
of the
a
factors
PR.
that stick out to me are this.
40.
First, you can stand out in the open and shoot at people for free without getting shot in the back, like I'm doing here.
That would be nice. What, these guys
Second
are just
is that many
parachuting
players
in?
don't
Yeah,
have good
we saw
awareness
one that was
and
like a
apparently
70
don't
kill
hear
game
footstep
that
audio at all, like
it
this
seemed
guy.
like it was. He's just fighting toasters.
And finally, a lot of players just seem to panic when you shoot at them, and they don't really shoot back. Now, there's definitely other hints that you're in a bot lobby, but basically you can just run around out in the open all day and hardly get shot at. Now, like I said, I have never had a 40 kill game in normal matchmaking, and transparently, I've been struggling for weeks in solo quads just to get 20 kills. So dropping a game like this just a few hours after
I can't
turning
even
the
do
VPN
solo
on
quads.
tells me that this method probably works, even though I can't see the data for the lobby strength. Now, one thing I will say is
I haven't
that
tried
after
it in a long
testing
time,
for
though.
several hours, I definitely didn't get bot lobbies every time. I actually got some sweaty matches too.
See, and that's the thing. I don't know how much of this is just outliers, because even if I play all day, occasionally I'll get a lobby that's not that bad. You get a lobby where you can start destroying. You get the luck of the draw. I think, and I don't, again, this just might be Call of Duty's, my head with Call of Duty, my random luck. But my first game of the day is always the easiest. I'm always on at like 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm on around the same time for my first game of the day. I feel like they give me a softie for the first game of the day. Then after that, then it starts getting cranked.
I would just say that the variety of matches that I got was much higher and more random than normal. And what's crazy about the VPN method is it's pretty much undetectable if you're doing it. The only thing that changes is your geolocation in the game. So for instance, if I connect to the Philippines, my location in the game changes to that.
Is
but
that
my
what they
ping
do?
stays the same. So
I mean, I would want to just join to where I'm at so I have actually good ping. I don't want to have high ping. If I could just get it so I just stay at 7 ping, that would be amazing.
If someone was doing this, you'd have to see their geolocation or their task manager to see if they're running a VPN program. So given that it's pretty easy to set this VPN up and fairly undetectable, I would imagine that a lot of people are doing it, which the host of the biggest Warzone podcast seems to agree with.
Like from everything that I've heard from everybody, chat, obviously we're in the scene, we hear like 95% of the Rebirth community VPNs. Let's just be honest, right?
Now this next bot lobby method might be even better because I smashed my 40 kill goal in this gameplay here while using it. Now if you remember in the last method, I sent my matchmaking data far away to a VPN server to confuse the matchmaking algorithm, and the game connected me to a server near my house, which kept my ping low. Well,
That's
for this
good.
new method, I don't connect to a server near my house. I force the game to connect me to a server in a location that I choose. This is called geofencing. And the idea behind this is that not only are you sending your matchmaking data to a VPN server across the world, but you're also restricting the game servers that you can connect to, so you're breaking the matchmaking algorithm even more. Now there's a few ways to do this. Some routers like the NetDuma allow you to go into the settings and draw shapes on a map, and your router won't let the game connect you to a server that is outside of the location that you draw. But another way to do this is to just use a third-party app, and that's what I did for my tests. I used SBMM off once again, and I connected to a VPN server where it was early in the morning, and then I set up a geofence to the west coast. Now, I live closer to
Yeah,
the East
early in
Coast,
the
and I
morning.
normally connect to these servers here, but with the Geofence, I forced the game to connect me to the West Coast servers.
I gotta
If you
wake up
remember from
earlier.
The last gameplay, my
Or-
ping in that game was in the 30s, which is pretty normal for me. But when I Geofence to the West Coast servers, in this game, I was getting 60 or about double. Now, I was actually a bit surprised that
That's
it
not too
wasn't
bad.
even
Actually,
higher,
60 is
and
not
I'm
bad.
not sure the exact location of
Thought
the
it said
server
6
that I
at
connected
first.
to, but my ping is usually not this high. Now, like I mentioned before, it's impossible to know the lobby strength that we get nowadays because the data isn't available, but I would say that using a VPN and Geofence gave me similar type games to just using a VPN. I got some sweaty lobbies, and I got what seemed like some easier lobbies. And after a couple of hours of using this method, I got very close to dropping 50 kills in solo quads.
Holy shit, dude.
Holy, man.
Nicely done.
Holy, new PR with the VPN Geofence. Let's go. So I would have to say that this method also works because it would have to be an insane coincidence to get this many kills when I've never dropped more than 40 kills in normal matchmaking. And just like the last method, it's not really possible to tell if someone is doing this unless you see their geolocation or if you notice that their ping is always really high. But even then, that
My
doesn't really
ping's
tell you
high? I
anything
don't
because
do-
sometimes
dude,
the
I don't
game
do
does
anything.
connect you to servers that are far away. Now, one major downside to using the Geofence was
I
that the
lost
queue time
every
between
single
games
game
took
for 6
significantly
hours
longer.
live.
Sometimes the queue time was more than 5 minutes, and I could hardly find a match, but then other times it was more normal. Now, I don't know exactly what causes that. It could be the time of day that I was playing and where I was geofencing, but I'm not exactly sure. Okay, the next bot lobby method is one that's been covered quite a bit on YouTube, and I actually made a video about this a few months ago, so I'll go through it quickly. But basically, ever since Warzone added map rotations to Resurgence, if you complete a match and then stay in the game until the very end, the game puts you back on the map
Yep.
that you just played, even if a new map is up on the rotation. And what this means is you tend to play a lot of people that are AFK, and in general, it seems like the skill level of these players is much lower. Now, quads wasn't available for my tests, so I had to play trios, but I tested this a few times.
I
and it
never got
definitely
this to
seemed
work
like
in
staying the
Resurgence.
lobby gave me significantly easier matches every time. Now, I didn't drop 40 kills using this method, but trios plays different from quads. It's much easier to accidentally wipe a team since there's only 3 players, so the pacing was something that I really wasn't used to. It was also pretty time consuming to have to wait each time for a new game, so after getting this 34 kill win and seeing that the players in these lobbies were oftentimes AFK, and a
So in the map rotation as well, this is how you could stay on Rebirth Island. If you let it queue itself automatically, you'll stay on Rebirth. But the only other people who could even possibly be in that game are also people who were AFK, went to go get a drink of water, went to go put their kid down or whatever, and then came back and the game auto-queued them into the next one. If you back out of the game and queue again, you're into the next map. So everybody else in the world is queuing into Vondel. Meanwhile, everybody who was AFK is re-queuing into the same Rebirth map. So that's why these people are just standing AFK, because they're probably not even playing the game anymore. They just left. They had to go run to a meeting. They had to go to work or something.
a lot of them weren't really aware of what was going on. I would say that this method works too. And just for reference, the game right before this one, which
I never got it to work. I don't know.
I was only able to get 10 kills and got 7th place. Now I want to get to the 4th bot lobby method, but before I do that, I have to discuss the big problem that I mentioned earlier. And that's hidden matchmaking algorithms. When you queue into a game of Warzone, you have no idea how sweaty the lobby is and who you're playing against, because Activision doesn't want you to know how their matchmaking works. And this creates a feeling of
Well,
unpredictability.
it's not even that they don't want them to know. It's that if you knew that you're in a sweaty lobby, what are you going to do? If you went into a game that was not ranked and didn't matter what you did and you could back out of it at any time, and you saw that you were in the highest tier sweaty ass lobby that you've ever been in your life, what are you going to do? You're going to back out of the game. You're not staying in there, dude. You're going to go find some bronzes that you can just go farm a little bit. You're not trying to get... So you're not in ranked. You don't want to play with the best player. You got a top 250 in your game? F that. I'm leaving that game. And then what happens? They're gonna go make another new account because everybody's leaving their game, and they're going to smurf. People even do that in ranked already. People will see that there's one of the top 250s in their game. They back out of the game before it can start because they're just killing people in the pregame lobby.
Ability because your in-game performance varies greatly from day to day. Some days
Yeah.
you're frying, and other days you're absolutely in the blender. But it also creates a lot of frustration because you don't know how your skill is being evaluated, so you can't tell if you're improving at the game. And maybe even worse than all of that is when games use hidden matchmaking systems, it becomes easier for people to abuse them without anyone knowing. Now, there are many schools of thought on how matchmaking in Warzone should work and whether or not there should be skill-based matchmaking in pubs. And I don't really have the answer for the perfect system, but what I think we should all agree on
I don't think
is that we
anybody
need more
does.
transparency. Back when Warzone had a publicly available API, you could see the lobbies that you were getting
I
put
like
into,
this. This is
and
what
you
I was
could
talking
track
about
your
earlier.
Performance to see if you were getting better. You could also check your favorite streamers and see what lobbies they were getting, so you could compare your performance to them. Now, this did lead to a lot of witch hunts and people accusing others of VPNing and getting easier lobbies, but that happens nowadays
didn't really
without
follow
these
all
websites
that.
anyways. The point is,
Some people
you
said
could at
I
least
was
see the
hacking,
data and make your own
cheating,
decisions.
whatever.
I
People always say
strongly
that.
believe that Warzone should make the API data available again because you should be able to look up and see who you're playing against in the game. Now,
Some
at the end of the
people
day,
are still, there are hacks apparently that let you get access to the API and still see like who's in your game and everything too. I have heard about that. I never looked into it.
There are always going to be people who try to get easier lobbies, whether they're a content creator looking to get more views or someone who just got home from their job and wants to relax without sweating. And what I hope you see from this video is that public matches are very easy to manipulate in Warzone, and it's very difficult to know if someone is doing it. So I just don't think that you can really take pubs seriously in Warzone. And in all
No.
reality, that's how gaming should be anyways.
Yeah.
Pubs for fun and ranked for competitive. At least
Yeah.
that's what I believe. And with that said, let's get on to the fourth bot lobby method. Now, I don't know this for sure, but I would guess that this method is the most popular right now because out of the other ones that I tested, this one felt like it gave easier lobbies the most consistently. So one of the factors that Warzone looks at when you're queuing in for a match is the skill level of your party. The higher the overall skill of you and your friends, the more sweaty lobbies you get. So in theory, if you play with really bad players, you can get easier matches. And that's where this fourth bot lobby method
That's
comes
why
in.
I always
First,
try and host
you have
for
to
my
have
friends.
a second PC or a console, and then you create a brand new account to use on this device. Next, you join a few matches with this account, and you don't get any kills, and you try to die as much as possible to give this account really bad stats. And then once you've done this once or twice,
I'm not that bad,
you use
though.
this bot account to search for a match.
Just
and
compared
while you're
to some of the
searching,
best
you join
people,
with
you
your
know?
main account. And theoretically, you should get
Up
easier
there.
lobbies because the stats of this bot account will decrease the overall skill-based matchmaking. And then
Yeah.
once you're in the lobby, you can just have the bot account leave the game, and now you just have your main account and you can get your gameplay.
I've seen games do this. Even in Apex Legends, I went to a tournament for that game, a Pro-Am, back in, I don't even know, early days of the game. And I got to play on a brand new, fresh account. I had never gotten a 20 kill. I always wanted to get a 20 kill in Apex Legends. And I got onto a brand new account at this event for like the staging practice, like in this just like schwanky area. I ended up going in and dropping my first 20 kill game. And I was like freaking out. I was so excited. And then I realized, well, it's because it's a brand new level 1 account. I was like, damn, I'm in the easiest lobby ever. It's because all of the players sucked. It was literally they're new to the game. They're trying to protect these new players. And that's the idea of the entire skill-based matchmaking and creating an account. You create a brand new account and you go in, you can't even hit anything. I've seen so many clips, even recently, of people going in on a new account, going in with other players and just walking around with them and just like not killing anything on purpose, not to even go in and just drop a 50 kill game or whatever, but just to see what the experience of those lobbies are like. And it's people who don't even know how to control their character. You know, they don't even know what sliding is yet. They're just trying to figure out how to walk and turn and aim and whatever.
Now, the theory behind this is pretty simple, and people call this the two-box method.
Yeah,
but it's
so this
actually
is
more
two-box.
complicated, and this didn't work for me at first. I wasn't sure how bad this bot account needed to be for the two-box method to work, so I first used a second account that I've had for quite a while for
0.9
filming YouTube
KD
videos,
is above
and I quickly
average,
found
bro.
out that these stats weren't low enough to get me into the bot
That's
lobbies.
way too
I had
good.
actually forgotten that I had used this account to play a little bit of multiplayer, so I think the stats were too high. So what I did was I created a third account, and then I played 1 or 2 games of Resurgence, and I made sure not to get any kills, and then I tried to die as much as possible. Now, I would show you the stats for this account, but you actually have to be a level 10 to be able to see them, so I'm actually not sure what they are. But once I started using this brand new account with the second account,
Probably to
and then
save
my
their
main
data.
account, I started getting a lot of bot lobbies, and the difference was night and day. I definitely think that if I did this consistently, I could get 50 kills or maybe even a 60 bomb with the right lobby. Because for this test, I only played using this two-box method for a morning of games, and I was able to get more than 40 kills, which was the benchmark for my test. New PR, let's go. One thing that I think is important to know is that even when you get bot lobbies, you still have to be pretty good at the game to get 40s and 50s and higher on Rebirth. You basically have to fly around the map at full speed and put yourself in really bad situation to get that many kills. So to get the types of high kill games that you typically see on YouTube, you really need 3 things. First, you need to have a lot of skill. Second, you need to get a bot lobby. And third, you do have to have a little bit of luck.
I think that's the impression that a lot of people have is like, oh, you're in a bot lobby. But you still do actually have to be good to still manage that much going on to stay that pressured. Like, these players are typically actually good. It's just they get into easier lobbies and then get records that are like actually impossible against people who know what they're doing.
There's plenty of players out there that have a lot of skill, but they don't get many bot lobbies, so they'll never put up numbers like the people that you see on YouTube using these methods. But on the flip side, there's also a lot of people who think they have a lot of skill, and if you put them in these same lobbies, they're probably only going to get 15 or 20 kills.
Yeah, and then there's also, though, there is people that are actually the best, and every lobby is like a bot lobby because they're just going against the average players, you know?
Now, like the other methods, I would say that this one is also pretty easy to hide. For instance, if you're streaming, you can just hide your screen in between matches, or you can pre-record yourself queuing into a normal match and then just play this to trick people. So once again, it's pretty much impossible to know if someone is doing this without
Let me take some notes
stats.
here.
Okay, moving on to bot lobby.
The thing is, to do two boxing too, you have to be going into solos and quads, duos, whatever, like a mode with more people because you're team playing. You can't do that into solos, right? I do mostly solos, so I don't even want to do solo squads because I'm just going to get stacked up by a team that's way too good.
To number 5. Now, I originally didn't want to talk about this method because it's actually banned by Activision, but I still see a lot of people on social media talking
Banned
about
by
it.
Activision, okay.
There's a third-party app that you can get through a private Discord server where it shows you the lobby stats for your game. So basically,
this is what I heard about.
Where you join a game, check the stats, and then you leave if the match is too sweaty.
Because they made all of this API private, so you can't get access to this information anymore. The only way you can get it is through, you know, some hack or whatever.
And when you do this enough times, you do eventually get easier lobbies because Warzone doesn't strictly use skill-based matchmaking. They use engagement-optimized matchmaking.
Look at how bad the flash is on that gun.
Players get bot lobbies.
This is the DDIR.
But just to be clear, I've never used this app or downloaded it, but there are some YouTube videos out there that do show what
That's
it can
good he
do,
didn't
so I am
download it.
aware
Smart
of it,
move.
but I've never used it.
This
Now,
guy
I do
makes
think
great
that people
videos, though,
should know the
Dreamstrike.
stats of their lobbies, but this app is bannable because it reads the memory of the game to get this data. So I would highly recommend that you don't download it or use it because it's just not worth it. But even when you get a bot lobby, you have to have the correct controller sensitivity to have good aim so that you can get a lot of kills. And you can check out what controller sensitivity I recommend.
This guy makes a lot of really good tutorial videos. I watched some of his stuff when Warzone 3 first came out is when I found him off of it, but I highly recommend him. Leave a link to his video down below. Really like that one. If you guys have any other good stuff that you want me to react to and take a look at, definitely send it over in my Discord, Viral Clips channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in some more. Bye-bye.